Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this. This is LK Live for the 31st of December 2016. Now, you're wondering what the fuck is LK Live? Well, LK Live is a new daily pro wrestling news show right here on KocoSports YouTube channel. I'm going to try and do it every single day. I might every now and then take a Saturday off, but I want to cover pro wrestling every single day, whether there's no shows to review, etc., etc. Because I was going to do some shows last night, but I didn't do any shows because, quite frankly, there was nothing to watch. And I hope you all had a great Christmas. I hope you all are looking forward to the new year of 2017 and support us in 2017. Hit the subscribe button. That being said, we've got lots of news to talk about because we don't really talk a lot about news on our reviews. I've got so many articles I'm going to talk about. Got Ring of Honor re-signing, got TV ratings to talk about. And we're going to start off with WWE.com, okay? They have a top 25 matches of 2016. Now, in case you didn't realize, we did our yearly awards for KocoSports, the Triforce Awards on this channel. So check that out. We did that about 3 days ago. So this is what WWE.com claim to be the top 25 matches. So Triple H versus Dean Ambrose for the WWE Championship at WWE Roadblock. That was the March Roadblock. That wasn't a bad match. It just didn't make 25. And then 24, Team Raw versus Team SmackDown Live. And the 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series elimination men's match at obviously Survivor Series. That was an okay match. I expect that to be in the top 25. I mean, when I look back on, what match I picked as the 2016 match of the year for the Triforce Award, spoiler alert, if you haven't actually watched it yet, I actually gave the Chris Hero versus Marty Scurll from the Revolution Pro Wrestling High Stakes, or whatever the fuck show it was, 2016 on October, my match of the year. Now, Sammy gave some match and Booms gave some match. I forgot what it was because I don't want to give you too much information. Just check that show out. But some of these matches that made the list shock me. So here's another example. New Day versus Gallows and Anderson for the Raw Tag Team titles on September the 26th edition of Raw. I have no freaking clue what that match is. So memorable, I don't even remember it. This is just, it's like they're trying to get every single person on this list. Make that number 23. That's absolutely insane. The Money in the Bank ladder match from this year's Money in the Bank makes number 22. That was a good match. I mean, look involved, your Ambrose, Owens, Jericho, Cesaro, Zayn, and Del Rio. That's not going to be a freaking bad match. That's number 22. 21 was Chris Jericho versus AJ Styles at Fastlane. That's very high. I would put that below Team Raw versus Team SmackDown at Survivor Series. That wasn't very good. Asuka versus Bayley for the NXT Women's Championship match. Obviously, NXT Women's Championship, at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2. So it was a decent match. A New Day versus Y2AJ, which is obviously Jericho and AJ Styles on March the 7th on Raw. That was a damn good match. I'm not going to main about that. That was a good match. Dolph Ziggler versus Triple H on Raw from March the 14th, made 18th. Damn, that's high. Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins for the WWE title Money in the Bank. Yeah, that's okay. Fatal 4-way for the IC title, Extreme Rules, Miz versus Sami Zayn versus Cesaro versus Kevin Owens. That's fucking lower than I anticipated. That was a really good match. But looking down this list, to be fair, I'm looking at it now briefly, and it's a damn good list from here on out. Oh, this is overrated. Sasha Banks versus Charlotte Flair, the Hell in a Cell match for the Raw Women's Championship. That is overrated as fuck, in my opinion. I thought it was a decent match, but they make history for the sake of making history. And I said this back in October. What the WWE did is they had a spinning wheel, like they did on the Vegas shows back in the day. They basically spin it, and whatever gimmick it lands on, that's what they went with. They had a Hell in a Cell match, they had an Iron Man match, they're fucking going to do a bra and panties match at this rate. They're just going through every fucking gimmick. But it was a good match, nowhere near above some of the matches. Nowhere near above the Fatal 4-way Extreme Rules. That should be in the top 10 of everyone's list, in my opinion, anyway. Revival versus American Alpha for the NXT Tag Titles and NXT TakeOver Dallas. You know what? It's crazy how out of all the 4 takeovers, the Revival matches, that's probably the one that I forgot the one I forgot the most. Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles, Extreme Rules for WWE Championship. That is understandable. I looked on, because when I was sick in mid-December, the WWE Network has a classics section, a collections section, I apologize. And on the collection, it says 2016 matches of the year. That was on it, and I watched that. That was amazing. Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa on the Cruiserweight Classic, August the 3rd. I was close to putting one of 2 matches in my match of the year instead of Chris Hero versus Marty Scurll, the Gargano Ciampa and Cedric Alexander Kota Ibushi. These were the 2 matches I was close to swiping out, but I went with my gut because I was there live and it was amazing. The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler title versus career for the IC title, No Mercy. Top 10, understandable. Cena versus AJ at SummerSlam. understandable. Charlotte versus Sasha versus Becky, triple threat for the women's title at WrestleMania 32. Yeah, it wasn't that great. Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins, no DQ. Dude, that's high. That's high on Raw. That's high. AJ versus Dean versus Cena in a triple threat for the title with No Mercy. You kidding? Are you actually for real? That is above Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. That's above Cena versus AJ. I wouldn't even put that in my fucking top 25. Unreal. I don't even remember it. If I'm right, isn't that the match that kicked off the show? Unbelievable. Kota Ibushi versus Cedric Alexander, Cruiserweight Classic, August the 10th. Rightfully so. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens at Battleground. You know, that last match ever. Fucking imbeciles. Charlotte versus Sasha. This is just the top 25 Charlotte versus Sasha Banks matches. This is the third time out of 23 matches so far that these women are involved. That was a good match. It was probably the best match they had. But damn it to God, is it bad, okay? When we look here, there is no WWE SummerSlam, no WrestleMania matches in the top 8. Not even in the top 8, no SummerSlam or WrestleMania. That's meant to be the showcase of the Immortals, the big shows of the year. And if you did a New Japan list, the top 10 would probably be your Wrestle Kingdom card. WWE SummerSlam and WrestleMania, the two biggest shows, they're not even in the top 8. Come on. Zayn versus Nakamura, NXT TakeOver Dallas, respectable. Revival versus DIY, which is Ciampa and Gargano, and a 2 out of 3 falls for NXT Tag Team Titles, NXT TakeOver Toronto. It was a good match. Wasn't the best match of the year. I would have put that in my top 10 for sure. But, you know, some imbecile who's sucking WWE's cock right now is doing the writing for this. You know, so I'm not really going to say much, but I just don't like this list. It is garbage. It's propaganda and bullshit. Like, how can you have Nakamura in your second best match of the year and not call him up to the main roster? Please explain to me. Anyway, we'll go on to SmackDown Live and Raw's viewership. So Monday Night Raw drew 2.855 million viewers on average. SmackDown did 2.885. So SmackDown Live defeated Monday Night Raw for the first time in the TV ratings in God knows how long. I was so ecstatic. SmackDown went up from last week's 2.637 to 2.885. That's a great jump, obviously, with the 3 title matches announced, plus the Cena return. SmackDown Live, since the brand split, has been the better show. Now, I don't want Raw viewership to go down because the selfish way of looking at this is if the Raw viewership goes down and no one watches Monday Night Raw, that means less people will be watching our Monday Night Raw review here on this channel because we do one every single week, minus this week because it was Christmas. So I am a little bit wary of the numbers going down. But, you know, next week they got Goldberg. The week after that they got Taker and Shawn Michaels, which alludes to on the next story. So I'm happy SmackDown Live beat Raw, and I'm hoping and praying that people who watch this week's SmackDown stick around next week and carry on to watch SmackDown Live because they realize it's a good show. Because what I'm thinking is on Monday, if they watch Raw and think, this is shit, this is shitter than shit, I'm not going to stick around and watch another 2 hours of WWE. What idiot would do that? That's like watching Game of Thrones on a Monday and going, oh, that was shit. You know, Game of Thrones is always the first TV show that pops into my brain. And they go, oh, that's shit. I'm not. And then go, hey, watch Game of Thrones on Tuesday. You're going to go, fuck you. I'm not. So hopefully the people who watch Raw on Monday, then watch SmackDown Live on Tuesday, because it's the same kind of number, hopefully they saw that SmackDown was the better show and think, you know what? I'll get my W intake on a Tuesday. Monday, I'll watch Game of Thrones Marathon. You know, hopefully they do that, or they could catch up on Lucha Underground, but who knows? That's checking out alternatives, and people don't do that these days. But, oh, Jesus Christ. So we'll move on. Shawn Michaels have been announced for the January 9th edition of Monday Night Raw. Now, this is what WWE posted out on their official Facebook page. So it says, The Undertaker returns to WWE Raw, plus a special appearance from Shawn Michaels. Now, what a coincidence. Okay, so SmackDown Live beats Raw. What happens? Raw gets Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. What does SmackDown get? They get no one. They get their homegrown talent. They've built characters. They've done good writing. And what do Raw do? They suck up for 3 hours and they beat SmackDown every week because they've got Goldberg. They've got Lesnar. They got Taker. They got Michaels. That was Vince being pissed off that SmackDown beat Raw. Do you know why they beat Raw? Because Raw sucks. That's the reason why Raw does not win. It's 3 hours and usually 15 minutes of pure bullshit and poor writing and poor everything. I'm not a fan of Raw in any way, shape, or form. I think it's the biggest waste of time ever known to mankind. Why is Michael's special appearance and Taker a return to Raw? Taker, 2 months ago, went on SmackDown and said, SmackDown's my home. He went and said, SmackDown is my home. And now he's on Monday Night Raw. Logic. Damn stupid. God. So illogical. So illogical. Not a fan of that at all. So Shawn Michaels can be the special guest appearance. You know, you can have the special, but Taker's returning to Raw because he's on Raw. Oh, we couldn't be on SmackDown, you know. And I tell you what, these imbeciles who keep saying that they're trying to make Raw bad on purpose to make SmackDown ratings go up. No, because they're losing money. When Raw numbers go down, they're losing money. The more people that watch Raw means the more advertising money they get. It's just pure logical. But it's not fair. Like, what a coincidence. SmackDown Live beat them on the ratings. Next thing you know, you go on WWE's Facebook account and they're promoting Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. Unbelievable. Who is SmackDown going to get, Vince? Who is SmackDown going to get? Are they going to get the headbangers? Oh, come on. Speaking of SmackDown and Raw, apparently next week's edition of Raw, which takes place, let me have a look. I think it's on the 2nd or the 1st. I think if I'm correct, it's the 2nd. Yeah, the 2nd of December, 2nd of January 2017, which we'll be covering on this channel. And from Tampa, Florida, we already know Braun Strowman versus Sami Zayn in the last man standing match. We got Bill Goldberg, of course, returning to Monday Night Raw. And apparently there is speculation online that SmackDown talent may appear on the show to help kick off the build for the Royal Rumble. And, okay, I'm going to be honest, this does make sense because obviously there's no house show from SmackDown on Monday. And WWE wouldn't send these guys home to be with their family. That would cost them a bit of money to do that. So they'll probably just have them go to Florida, get a Raw. And, you know, even worst case scenario, some of them are on dark matches or they're on main event or something. But I am expecting an invasion kind of thing. Because it's the Royal Rumble, I'll let it go. The 2 times a year, I'm happy with SmackDown turning up on Raw. But if you notice, it's not Raw turning up on SmackDown. It's always SmackDown turning up on Raw. Why is Raw so favored? Can't it be split 50-50? Why can't Taker return on SmackDown and Goldberg return on Raw and Shawn Michaels return on Raw and someone else return on SmackDown? It's always the big things happen on Monday. And it's not like back in the day where Raw outdrew SmackDown so much. Right now, SmackDown's outdrawing Raw. Okay, and there's a reason for that. Okay, and you're going to just avoid that reason. You're going to cover that reason. Okay, you're pissed off because you know SmackDown is a better show than Raw, and you don't want people to know that. So you do that by having guest return after guest return after guest return after guest return. You'll fucking have The Rock on next week. Jeez, it pisses me the fuck off. I've gotten some happy news. Fucking Jay Lethal re-signs with Ring of Honor. Okay, apparently, from Ring of Honor free agents, apparently the offers from WWE have been really low. So obviously Jay Lethal sticking around for money, good for him. And there's not really been much interest from WWE and Jay Lethal. I think Lethal should just stay in Ring of Honor. Just be a Ring of Honor guy. He gets a New Japan deal out of it. I recommend Jay Lethal to stay in Ring of Honor, help build Ring of Honor. He is, like, when you think of Ring of Honor now, you know, Roderick Strong, he's gone. Like, I used to think of Roderick Strong when I thought of Ring of Honor. You know, back in the day, it was Davey Richards who used to think of Ring of Honor. Kevin Owens, formerly Kevin Steen. You know, El Generico, Sami Zayn. Now, you got Jay Lethal, Kyle O'Reilly, and Adam Cole. They're the 3 people that come to mind when I think of Ring of Honor. But Kyle O'Reilly, the Ring of Honor World Champion right now, he has not re-signed. And that's a scary thing. You know, his contract comes up very shortly, and he hasn't re-signed it. That I know of. He might have re-signed, but he has not re-signed as I know. Okay, so here's a little Twitter exchange. This is a bit of a fun little topic to really talk about here on this show. Before we get going anyway. Boom. We'll be here in 20 minutes. Oh, shit. When was that? Cool. Right, so shots fired from John Cena and Roman Reigns. So Roman Reigns, in case you didn't know, he was laughing in the middle of a match with Kevin Owens at a house show. So Roman Reigns, on his official imbecilic Twitter account, says, I was laughing at Kevin Owens' merch check. I made more splitting with the Shield. Imagine what it is now. Ah, yes, sir. You arrogant cunt. Jeez. So you know what Cena did? Big Match John is trying to win me over recently. He puts, while Reigns was making fun of what people earn, I was at the gym. #earn the day. #recognize. You know what Reigns said to that? What I hashtag recognize is you have no clue what's going on here. So just power clean and make sure you clean your weights up. Hashtag guest in my house. Unbelievable. Reigns came across there as a piece of shit. He does not do anyone favors, does he? He doesn't do himself any favors. He is hated with pure passion from half of the WWE universe. Vince just cummed in his trousers in his mansion somewhere. And it's not fucking fair. It's really, really not. It's just, he comes across as a cunt. He really does. And apparently, the poster for the Elimination Chamber, which saw Cena versus AJ Styles in a 2 out of 3 falls WWE Championship match, apparently that poster is a fake. Apparently it's not a legit poster. That's what this website, I'm not going to give any publicity, is saying. Apparently it's a fake and it was made by a fan. If that's the case, that's pretty sad. But the poster was pretty well done. So whoever made that poster, hit me up on Twitter and I'll be damn sure make you be able to do some logo creation or poster creations for the show. And I want to thank everyone for watching. I realize right now in America, you're looking at around about 6 a.m. In England, it's 2 p.m. right now. Apologies about the location. I'm right now in my lounge. You've got the Christmas tree. It's very Christmassy season. I'm not in my office because basically the neighbors are out, so I don't want to, shout my head off and curse when there's kids there. I'm not that much of a mean prick. But LK Live is going to be your new daily pro wrestling news show, as well as a fun show. Maybe have some guests on. It's going to be a very enjoyable time. And just every day, I want to be able to just come on and talk about pro wrestling every single day, no matter what. Because, reviewing shows is fun. But sometimes it's nice to just mix up, talk about news, go on rants, run things down. And I think this was an entertaining show. We ran down Dolly's top 25. We've ranted on Raw, praised SmackDown, talked about Ring of Honor. Lots of stuff coming up. We've got Wrestle Kingdom coming up in this year, in a few days. The next show I'll be recording will be tomorrow. Will obviously be the 1st of January 2016's edition of LK Live. Gonna review ICW Fight Club from last week. Got to do lots on this channel, so please stick around. And 2017, mark my words, will be the year KocoSports takes over the wrestling internet. That being said, I want to thank you for joining me on this relaunched version of LK Live. Make sure you check out my Patreon page and pledge there. I want to thank EC Cuff for recently becoming a patron. You get exclusive shows. I just recorded a LK Talks Live where I talked about work, relationships, everything under the sun. I talked about that on exclusively for patrons. You have new merchandise. If you love this show so much, there's an LK Live merch. There's some Sammy Slaughterhouse merch. I'm going to be updating the merch section a lot more in the future. I want to thank you all for watching this show. Like, comment, and subscribe. A comment is important, so comment your favorite match. Check out all our recent shows. I want to thank you for making 2016 such a fun year for me. We've grown. I want to thank you for watching. So please stay safe. Please stay well. And I'll be catching your asses down the line.